A significant change made in Obi Wan Kenobi suggests that Star Wars has abandoned one of George Lucas' earliest concepts, and it's been a disappointing turn for the franchise. Obi Wan Kenobi was a truly thrilling addition to Star Wars movies and TV shows, especially because it brought back many of Star Wars' best characters. In addition to Ewan McGregor returning as Obi Wan Kenobi and Hayden Christensen reprising his role as Anakin Skywalker Darth Vader, Obi Wan Kenobi introduced 10-year-old Luke Skywalker, Grant Feely, and Leia Organa, Vivian Lyra Blair. Along with these characters came the revelation that Leia and Obi Wan had a much more extensive connection than A New Hope or Star Wars, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith let on. Those movies made it seem like Leia had not encountered Obi Wan after she was born in Revenge of the Sith, but Obi Wan Kenobi revealed that Obi Wan and Leia had a significant history, one that saw Obi Wan rescuing Leia from the clutches of the Empire. While these were thrilling updates and changes, though, one deviation in Obi Wan Kenobi is more disappointing and represents a departure from George Lucas' vision. Obi Wan Kenobi's final set stripped Leia's room of its character. Leia's room on Alderaan was surprisingly devoid of personal touches. Leia, Breha, and Bail Organa standing in Leia's room in Obi Wan Kenobi. At Star Wars Celebration 2023, Lucasfilm's Senior Vice President and Executive Design Director Doug Chiang, who was also production designer for Obi Wan Kenobi, revealed that, originally, Leia's room in Obi Wan Kenobi was much more befitting of a child and of a character with Leia's personality, strengths, and interests. In a video posted by Cobalt Green 1138 on X, Chiang can be heard saying. The video then cuts to an image of the final version of Leia's room in Obi Wan Kenobi, and although Chiang jokes, "And here's the final set," after she cleaned it up, it's clear that there really was a drastic change from the team's original concepts for Leia's bedroom. Despite Chiang's light-hearted approach to the topic, it really is a shame that these changes were made to the original plan for Leia's room. As Chiang rightly points out, Leia should have had a room that suited her very strong and well-known personality. It would have been wonderful to see Leia's room designed with these personal touches that represented Leia's brilliance and curiosity. It also seems out of character for Leia, Breha, and Bail. Leia would no doubt have been headstrong and determined about her own room, and it's clear Bail in particular wanted her to be true to herself. George Lucas always wanted Star Wars to have a lived-in aesthetic. George Lucas prioritized authenticity for his sets. In addition to this choice for Leia's room being disappointing within Obi Wan Kenobi, it also has unfortunate implications for Star Wars more broadly. The final version of Leia's room in Obi Wan Kenobi is indicative of Star Wars' more recent departure from George Lucas' vision of lived-in sets. Lucas wanted the Star Wars sets to feel authentic and natural, which meant designing them in ways that made them look as though someone realistically worked or lived there. This can be seen throughout the original and prequel Star Wars trilogies, particularly in residential spaces. In A New Hope, the Lars home has many items and features, and sometimes outright clutter, that reflect everyday life. Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace shows similar details in the home Anakin Skywalker shared with his mother, Shmi, on Tatooine. Anakin's room is quite messy, in part because he was working on building C-3PO at the time. Unfortunately, Star Wars has taken a step back from this approach. Modern Star Wars is too austere, too controlled. Many sets are now precisely the opposite of what George Lucas wanted. In recent years, Star Wars TV shows seem to increasingly feature sets with controlled, even somewhat cold designs. Although minimalist sets appeared earlier on in the Star Wars timeline as well, those choices tended to be much more logical. As a key example, the Empire's aesthetic intentionally avoided any warmth or personality. Everything was meant to be sleek and rigid because the Empire was all about maintaining control. It makes much less sense for this to become a widespread design principle, yet this more austere approach to Star Wars sets can be seen across the board. In addition to Leia's bedroom, scenes from Andia, such as when Cyril Korran visits his mother's home, reinforce that residential spaces have also taken on this more subdued design. Other sets in Ahsoka and the Acolyte reflect similar design qualities, although that makes a bit more sense when it involves Jedi or governmental spaces.